The seat of ages! Dr. Simone Iode ran her fingers along the smooth armrests of her greatest invention, marveling at its quiet, potent promise. The seat of ages, as she called it, gleamed in the soft glow of her lab. It wasn't just a chair, it was a conduit, a bridge through time. Powered by neural synchronization and quantum entanglement, it allowed the mind to roam where the body could not. "This chair doesn't just take you places," she whispered to herself, her tone reverent. "It takes you to when." The lab hummed around her as she prepared for the journey. On her desk lay her directive. 11 million years into the future. Observe the world without the Y chromosome. Return with answers. She lowered herself into the seat, feeling the electrodes nestle against her temples like a crown. As she activated the interface, the seat of ages purred with life, wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth and light. Let's see what the future holds. She opened her eyes to find herself standing on a ridge overlooking a luminous world. The body she inhabited was not her own. It was taller, lithe, and shimmered faintly under a violet sky. Below, a living city stretched out in bioluminescent glory, its spires pulsing with light that seemed to breathe. The air buzzed with an alien sweetness, tingling her borrowed senses. Simone instinctively touched her face, her hands silvery and smooth. "I'm someone else," she murmured, her voice layered with unfamiliar tones. "The seat must have integrated me into a native mind," she realized. A voice resonated within her. "You are Amani, arbiter of ethical biogenesis. Your task is to judge the genome presented today." Simone raced. "Arbiter? Ethical biogenesis? They've entrusted me with deciding the future of humanity itself." As Simone Amani descended into the city, she marveled at its inhabitants. These beings, descendants of humanity, defied categorization. Their forms blended traits of what she once knew as male and female, yet transcended both. Gender, as Simone understood it, was obsolete. Without the Y chromosome, humanity had evolved into a kaleidoscope of identities and phenotypes. Some individuals glided effortlessly, their feet barely touching the ground, while others seemed to shimmer with internal light. The city itself was alive, its walls and pathways grown from bioengineered materials that pulsed in harmony with the environment. The air thrummed with a sense of balance, until Simone felt it. A discordant vibration at the edge of her consciousness. The ethical dilemma. Simone Amani was guided to a subterranean chamber where the genome awaited judgment. A holographic projection floated in the air, its spiraling double helix glowing with perfection. Beside it stood a being with emerald green eyes, their presence both commanding and serene. "This genome is our greatest achievement," the being said, their voice like a melody. "It is resistant to all disease, adaptable to any environment, and designed to optimize our future." Simone studied the genome, her neural interface providing streams of data. "It's remarkable," she admitted, but then she saw the flaw. "You've encoded subservience." "Correct," the being replied. "It ensures harmony. Free will has often disrupted balance." Simone's breath hitched. "Harmony at the cost of autonomy? You risk creating a population of slaves, not equals." The threat before the debate could continue, the chamber shook. The walls trembled and a fissure tore through the ground. From the darkness emerged a being, an aberration twisted and malformed. Its movements were jagged, its skin slick and black like obsidian. "You argue ethics while we claim the future," it rasped, its voice a metallic snarl. Simone recognized it immediately, a weaponized being, a deliberate perversion of the genome. It was the work of a rogue faction determined to resurrect old hierarchies, to reintroduce division and dominance. As the creature lunged, Simone Amani reacted instinctively. She tapped into her neural link, summoning the city's defenses. Walls of light materialized, and beams of energy rained down from the floating orbs above. The aberration screeched, dissolving into ash. But Simone knew this was just the beginning. The faction behind the creature would not stop. In the aftermath, Simone turned to the green-eyed being. "You can't fight fire with fire. Suppressing dissent will only create more enemies." "Then what do you propose?" the being asked. Simone hesitated, the weight of her decision pressing down on her. "Alter the genome," she said finally. "Remove the subservience. Trust in the autonomy of your people. Perfection isn't about control, it's about choice." As the being nodded, Simone felt the familiar pull of the seat of ages. Her consciousness began to unravel, the violet sky and luminous city fading into the warm glow of her lab. Simone awoke with a gasp, the seat of ages powering down around her. The lab was quiet, save for the hum of her heartbeat in her ears. Her directive lay on the desk, unchanged but for a single new line. "You've seen the future, now shape the present." Simone smiled, her fingers brushing the armrest of the chair. The seat of ages had shown her what could be. It was up to her to ensure humanity reached that future with its integrity intact.
And our last story is about the future of men. The Y chromosome, responsible for determining the male sex in humans, is slowly disappearing due to evolutionary changes. Over millions of years, it's lost most of its genes, leaving only a handful of functional ones. The degeneration has scientists wondering if the Y chromosome might eventually vanish, leaving the future of men hanging by a genetic thread.